It's that time of the year. It's November 3rd of 2023, Breeders' Cup Friday. Future Stars Day starts out with race 5, the Juvenile Turf Sprint. This race has gone, I think, split 3-3 between the Americans and the Euros. So we're going to take a look at this and take a quick overview of each race and get the logicals and the long shots, potential long shots anyway. A couple of things to keep in mind. Today is a light nakshatra day, meaning the top 3 betting choices are going to win most of the races. It is the Breeders' Cup, and there's probably going to be 1 or 2 upsets in this group of 5 races. And we've got a couple of opportunities to capitalize on that. Strong numbers today. Number 3 should win a race or 2 on this card. There are 2 key aspects in play here also. The moon is sextile to Venus, which is going to bring in the numbers 2 and 6 as favorites or top 3 betting choices. And then there's a moon square node, which is going to bring in a middle price 2 and 7 horse. Now these aspects, the moon aspect is going to be exact right after the 5th race, which is the first Breeders' Cup race, and then the Venus moon aspect is going to be a little bit later after the second Breeders' Cup race, or race 6. The effect of that could carry over into the later races, but I would look at this primarily as the early part of the card. Now, I did not look at the undercard. I'm only going to mention a few things on some of these Breeders' Cup races. My top pick here of the U.S. horses would be Crimson Advocate. He's got some speed. He's got the rail. He can break and get out and just run right around the track in the shortest path. He's also run a race close to par here at the 13 May at Gulfstream in this 5 furlong, $100,000 stakes race. He won easily on the lead and has a nice pace number for that race. He's been off since June. He went to Ascot, won by a nose. Not an easy task, and won the grade 2 there, and has been laid off since June. So this horse has another 4 months of physical development under his for himself since that last race. So this is it's an important horse. No Name Nets. Should mention that Weaver has 3 horses, and the first 2 are both legitimate. I just prefer Crimson Advocate. No Name Mets is a speed horse too. I'm just a little bit more partial to Crimson Advocate. I think he's going to be faster with that 4 months off and that additional development. We saw No Name Mets in late September. Tiger Bell is a decent long shot in this race for Aidan O'Brien, but this race really sets up to be a chalky race. But Tiger Bell, you would definitely want to look at using this one underneath. The logical European horse is the 4 Big Evs for Michael Appleby. This is probably the best Euro horse in the race. Big Evs also shows up strong on the current class. You see Big Evs and Crimson Advocate on top, and then Big Evs and Crimson Advocate on average class. Last 3 are right there as well. A couple of long shots I'd be looking at in this race if you want to find somebody to use underneath. I would be looking at Shards for Kelsey Danner here at 15-1. I would also take a look at O'Brien's Cherry Blossom So to get some price kicking up into the exacta trifecta or super, if you do that, you want to look at those two guys, and you also want to take a look at Slider coming here for John Sadler. So I'd be looking at those guys as long shots to beef up those exotics. Next one up is the juvenile fillies. Everybody is locked onto number 7, Tamara. Yeah, she looks good, right? She's got this blistering 7 furlong race, but again, has never gone 2 turns. And this race sets up astrologically to be a long shot race. And this filly going to go off at, 4 to 5 or something like that. I want to really press on this race and try to beat her with the long shot. And astrologically, the long shots are coming up as 2. Number 2, I think the most reliable potential long shot in here would be number 2, Jody's Pride. I'm also looking at number 12, Just FYI, and number 13, Alley's Beach. So actually the most likely of these 3 would be the 12 rather than the 2. Just FYI, this horse has a nice number on the one turn mile at Aqueduct, so that's a pretty good race right there. Winning the Frizette, of course, that's a prep race that has won this particular race numerous times. So to get price here, that number 12 is looking pretty good. And then Alley's Beach. The other logical contender in here of the lower price horses that I like is Candied, number 1. So I'm really going to work that group of those horses right there. So I would look to get, the 2, 12, and 13 wrapped in exactas with the 1 and 7, and put your, favorites with long shots in that exacta ticket. So I think those are good, legitimate long shot plays in this particular race. Since I'm doing this video to look at all 5 races, I'm not going to get too in depth into each race. I'm just going to basically give you the contenders and the long shots. Otherwise, the video is going to go for an hour and a half. So I'm not going to get into all the nuances. But in the next one, the Juvenile Fillies Turf, this is one that the Americans have dominated over the Euros, and then the juvenile turf for the males is just the opposite, where the Euro trainers and Euro horses have dominated over the Americans. But in this particular race, the one Euro who I do like is number 6, Porta Fortuna. This is, I think this is Aidan O'Brien's son, Donica O'Brien, who's got this one. This one is really pretty classy horse. You can see already got the grade 1 win in the Juddmonte Chevrolet Park at Newmarket. This horse is very capable here of coming and running well in this sprint. Of the U.S. runners in this race, partial in number 3, Buchu. Buchu is, to me, the best looking of the American horses. Then behind them, the 11, She Feels Pretty. And then number 12, Hard to Justify, would be next in that group. I'm also looking to get into a long shot in this race, and the key long shot that I'm looking at is number 13, Dreamfire. Now, there's not a lot here. This horse only has the 1 race on the turf. She won, but it's a terrible figure. But she beat 2 in this race and also outpaced the one horse, Buttercream Babe, who looks faster at the start from the other races than this one does, but this one actually outpaced her in that race. So she is obviously in need to lead horse, is going to have to wire this field or at least get up front, and we'll see if, you know, she's capable of pressing. But I think you're going to get a lot better than 15 to 1 on this horse, and it's worth the risk, or at least using underneath. So this would be my primary long shot in this race. One other one I'm considering is number 10, Austere. Brendan Walsh has a few horses in this Breeders' Cup, and his runners have looked really good at Santa Anita this week, and this one is one who could make some noise in here. Obviously, she's going to have to take a step forward, but she's going to press from probably a couple lengths off the pace, and it's quite possible that she could step up here and get a piece into this trifecta. In the juvenile and dirt, I'm partial to Lacked, number 6, over Muth. Lacked and Muth are probably going to be co-favorites, so there's no big shock there. Even number 4, Timberlake, very close. Those three are really probably should be about co-favorites. It's really hard to separate this race. I'm going to look for some value. Right behind them I have Prince of Monaco. General Partners, a fit there, and the Wine Steward. I'd be looking at the two of them, the 1 and 8, the Wine Steward, and the 8 General Partner, to mix up into exactas with those other top 3 horses there. And depending on how the odds end up, it'll be a little have to wait to before the race just to see how the tote board goes and what the payoffs are in exactas to really decide what I'm going to do here. I'm a little bit more partial to Locked over Muth and Timberlake, but you couldn't really fault anybody for leaning in any particular direction here with any one of those 3. Now in the juvenile turf, which is the last Friday Breeders' Cup race, you've got the Euros, which tend to dominate this race, and we're looking at the 3 of them, 2, 8, and 12 down at the bottom here. Those are all Aidan O'Brien, with the 2 River Tiber being the one that people are most interested in, then Unquestionable. Those 2 are probably the most likely winners. I'm not in love with a lot of the U.S. horses in here. The ones that I would consider for the win would be the 9 Endlessly and number 14 Carson's Run. I really like number 14 Carson's Run as the best American horse, but the 14 Post kind of knocks that down a little bit. So I've kind of maybe got to lean on Endlessly a little bit more first. Looking for long shots in this race, it's kind of tricky. I'm looking at number 3 Tic Tac as a possible long shot here. This is a Graham Motion colt getting blinkers today. And this guy, Motion, is really good at getting a horse ready for a race and winning at a price. He did that in the Breeders' Cup in the past, probably more than once. The most recent one that I can think of is Sharing a few years back that won, I forget what turf race it was. Anyhow, he brought in a 12 or 15 to 1 shot that day in a similar type of a situation. Another long shot I like is number 6, Stay Hot. This colt can improve. Ran a pretty decent race last out, only winning a maiden race. Hasn't been stakes tested yet, But this horse is going to be a good price and could be considered underneath to be at the bottom of your exact or your tries. Peter Yurton, he's won Breeders' Cup races in the past, Breeders' Cup turf races as well. So he's one to definitely be looking at. Just looking quickly at Endlessly here, the 9. Won a pair of grade 3s, local-based horse, won at Santa Anita. Decent figure, a little bit below par, but he can certainly improve off of that. This horse has a nice improving pattern, and Michael McCarthy, of course, good trainer, having a good year, winning regularly. He knows how to get a horse ready. And then the other one that I liked most was Carson's Run for Christoph Clement. He won this grade 1 summer at Woodbine. I really like this guy. I just wish he wasn't stuck outside here. I may end up having to put some kind of win money on him depending on, where he goes on the board. Christoph Clement is one of the premier turf trainers in America, but has a terrible record in the Breeders' Cup. He's just overdue to break through, and this is a pretty good shot for him to break through. Anyhow, if I get a chance, this is a quick overview for the Breeders' Cup with the logicals, some astro stuff, and all that. Remember, consider those numbers I gave you, the 3 and then the 2, 6, and 2, 7 in the earlier races. Look for those to be in up through at least the first 6 races. So you're going to see those numbers going to appear in the win place results of these races. And then if I get a chance, I will try to get on here tomorrow morning and maybe do a quick rundown on some of the Saturday races if anything looks exceptionally good.